If HR is so important in building brands, how about brands and strong brands? Do they make life easier for HR? And I'm going to focus just on one aspect there. Imagine you're Coca-Cola and your brand is strong. Does that allow you to get people to work for you for less? This is a project with Alina Surescu, she's at Texas A&M, and Rajesh Chandy, who's a co-author of mine at London Business School. The title here says, Employee-Based Brand Equity, the Impact of Customer Perceptions on Executive Pay. If I work for a brand that is strong, that is respected, it enhances my identity. That should be a substitute for pay. Is this important? Well, I mentioned at business schools, 80% goes straight to academic staff in terms of the operating expenses. In terms of the US, pay is the biggest cost for many firms. Salaries account for between 20 to 50% of operating expenses, and pay absorbs about 30% of US firms' revenues on average. So this is a big number. If you think about some of the razor-thin margins we trade on when it comes to products, think about if you can make a difference, not just in terms of prices we can charge, but the costs we incur internally, all of a sudden our brand investments have a much bigger payoff than we might have thought. And so we have data from BAV Consulting, small firms, large firms, about 3,000 executives, about 500 COs over an 11-year period. So we have the firm's top brand for multi-brand firms. We also run it with just a subset of firms where the corporate brand and the product brand is the same, like let's say for HSBC, which I mentioned before. There are 4 pillars in this idea of brand strength. Esteem, how esteemed is the brand? How many people know about it? Basically awareness. How relevant is it to me personally? And is it sort of on the up? The dependent variable we look at is the log of pay. We also run this just for salary and other factors. I'm just giving you the top level results. As I said, brand strength is our main independent variable. But we wanted to make sure that we control for things like corporate reputation. Is it a good place to work? Factors like that, which could also affect the behavior. So we threw these in there. They have no effect. And then lots of different variables here. Are you the CEO or not? Then we interact that with brand strength. So is the effect stronger for CEOs? The age, we interact that. How well does the firm do? We also interact that. I'll skip this effect for now. We have to control, obviously, for firm size. More complex jobs, bigger firms pay more. We look at variables like, is it a recession the year before, which affects your pay? How many boards are you on? That's kind of a quality measure of the executive at the moment you're appointed. And do you hold the dual job, chairman, CEO? How long have you been with the firm? Brand strength, we find a very strong negative effect. So the stronger the brand, the less it needs to pay its top executives, controlling for everything else. If you're a CEO, of course you make more than the others in the sample. This could be the CFO, the COO, right? We have the data for the top 5 executives. But if you're CEO, you take an even bigger hit than the rest of the executives. And just to give you an idea, one standard deviation in terms of the strength of the brand, and standard deviation kind of from the mean, the first part is about 25%, and then it gets less and less, is about 12% of pay. It's a very, very big number. Now, I should point out the companies in this data set are skewed towards larger, more well-known companies where the average CEO pay is about $10 million. If you look at the S&P 500, it's only about $2.5 million. So it's a bit skewed upwards, but it means about 1.2 million the average CEO will take less for each standard deviation of brand strength. And that's a big number. My finance colleagues were surprised by this number. There's hundreds of articles on CEO and executive pay. And maybe as marketers, if we think about some data here, this is a year ago, 70% of CEOs have lost trust in marketers. The majority, 70% of CEOs, have lost trust in marketers' ability to deliver growth after becoming frustrated by what they see as an inability to prove ROI. We all know that this ability to prove ROI is pushing us more and more into the short term because we can link a change in sales more to short-term investments. But maybe trying to not just focus on the sales, but looking at other aspects, other benefits of brand investments might actually help to repair that relationship.